Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet a true giver. He's heavily involved in both EarthX and he's a proud Rotarian. You're going to hear his incredible story just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I think all of us have this same problem. We're searching for meaning. In your early days, sometimes you're working for the money or a job or a title or the corner office. And then I think in your second half of your life, you start thinking about relevance and did you leave the planet off better than when you got here? And that describes my next guest. Steve Bender is in the studio. He's heavily involved in EarthX and he's a very proud Rotarian. Thanks for coming on the show.
You bet.
Awesome. Well, I want to hear, let's start with EarthX and we'll get into Rotary because I was a proud Rotarian for more than a decade. Let's talk about EarthX.
Okay.
When did you first get involved?
About 4 years ago, I was asked to speak at a conference and the founder saw me and asked me to come back. And then every year my role seems to be a little bit larger.
And shout out to Trammell Crow, just a brilliant mind.
Yes.
And EarthX, why don't you describe the organization?
Well, it'll take place this year, April 21st to the 25th at Hilton Anatole, and it's described as a college of conferences. And it's rated about the top three environmental shows of the year in the United States.
Wow.
So you've got a lot of great minds coming together from both the left and the right to discuss problems and how we can solve them and save our planet.
Yes. From what you know about Trammell Crow, what placed this on his heart? Because he comes up famously through real estate.
Yeah, he's just the real deal. Mm-hmm. You know, a funny story. He might kill me if I say this, but a few years ago we were at an event and he looked into trash cans. He saw people were throwing away aluminum cans, and he starts pulling them out and saying this is not the way to do it. He walks the walk. You know, he recycles. Everything about him is he really truly cares about the planet.
I love that.
Yeah.
We're going to pull up the EarthX website, which is earthtx.org. I'm sorry.
Earthx.org.
Yeah, earthx.org. And as we scroll down the website, I want you to talk a little bit more about the kinds of things that EarthX represents.
Okay. Well, there's lots of conferences. I'm doing 2 days for what's called the Rotary Experience, which is Monday and Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Monday, we focus on youth in the morning. In the afternoon, we focus on civics, civility, and democracy, and how that affects in the environmental. And then Tuesday, we will showcase Rotary projects in the Texas area for the first part of the day. And as the day goes farther, we'll have larger, bigger names come in. Last year, we had the president of Rotary International speak.
And I don't think it's probably saving the planet hasn't been this cool since the 70s. I mean, Trammell Crow really kind of hit a wave, didn't he?
He was way before his time. Yeah.
Absolutely. You sent us a flyer for an upcoming event, and we're going to put that on the screen. It's a recycling event. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, so it's November 16th at Clyde Warren Park. It's free to the public. There's things going on all day, kid-friendly games, things like that. Junk luggers are going to be there collecting e-waste, which is a big passion of mine. A large percentage of waste goes into landfill. E-waste specifically, but other waste. And one thing, the junk luggers do is they show up for free and take this waste for us. But they also, if you were to call them, a lot of companies take things to the landfill. They actually look at it and go, what can this be recycled, reused, repurposed?
Love it.
And so I really fallen in love with the company.
And why is this so near and dear to your heart?
You know, I was raised on an organic farm in the 60s in Kansas before they called it organic. So this has been a part of my life forever. And I'm a lot of passion for the ocean. I'm a master PADI scuba diver.
Nice.
And so I've seen the difference in the last 40 years, the changes, the lack of fish, the coral reefs dying off. And so I want to leave it better for my nephews and nieces, you know.
Okay, I want to transition to Rotary because this is a proud organization. I want to say it started in around 1910 or something like that in Chicago.
1908, I believe.
1908, okay. And it started as a group of businessmen, and now it has grown into a global organization.
Yes.
So when you talk about Rotary to somebody who's never heard of Rotary, and I can't imagine there's no one who hasn't heard of Rotary, but how do you describe it?
You know, it's just a great organization. We're in more countries than the United Nations.
Wow.
We're in 200 countries, 1.4 million members, and our motto is service above self. And there are 7 areas of focus, the environment being my most passionate one.
Yes.
That became a focus in, I believe, 2019.
Nice.
I've been a Rotarian for over 15 years, and it's just like-minded people. We travel around the world, we do good, and you know, it's just, some people like golf, I like philanthropy.
I think that's amazing. God is going to richly bless you for that. You sent me an article, and I want to put this on the screen, the Cleft Palate Program, and I love that picture. When did you have your first trip involving the cleft palate?
That was about 2016, maybe. I'm trying to look at what I look like. 2015, 2014. For about 10 years, I'm a CEO of a dental group at USC.
Okay.
And so every year, first three days of Christmas break, this was pre-COVID.
Sure.
We would take about 100 dental students down to Rosarito, and we'd provide free dental care for students. And I was down there one day, and I just a heartbreaking story. I saw kids beating up this kid with a cleft palate, and it just broke my heart. And I went to say, "Take me to your mother," you know, and they said, "Oh, it's okay, he's my brother." And I looked at these sad eyes, and I said, "I've got to help." So we did is I developed a program. I got with some a clinic, Cosmed Clinic in Tijuana, and asked them to help perform the surgery for free. And I said, we're going to find the worst cleft palate patient in the region. And then we're not only going to fix his cleft palate, we're going to actually give him toys, his neighborhood toys, et cetera,
Wow.
and he becomes the champion of the neighborhood.
Wow.
Instead of the person they beat up. And it works so well, other clubs have picked up on it, and then since then we've grown to and expanded to other hospitals, et cetera, et cetera.
And I just went to YouTube this morning as I was preparing for the show, and there's all kinds of videos on the Rotary websites. Let's go ahead and put a video up there and talk about this so people can kind of get a visual. These are children who are born this way, and as you pointed out, they're often bullied. So how long is the procedure? How long does it take?
It's different for every person. Christopher, the boy in the picture, I see him every year now. We continue to take him presents every Christmas. And he's, I think, 13 now, and he was just 2 when we started, so that gives you a long time. But he needed 4 surgeries. He actually didn't have a roof in his mouth. He was the worst patient we could find.
Wow.
Some require one day surgery. He required years of surgery.
And since you have a kind of an ongoing relationship with him, tell us what it's like. I mean, how has his life changed?
He's a beautiful little boy now. He's a young adult.
Wow.
And he smiles and he runs and he plays. And everybody in our group is in love with him because every Christmas we take him down presents again. And toys for the neighborhood, and so we've grown to know his family really well.
Well, and I'm looking in Steve's eyes, and they're just getting soft. This is emotional for you, isn't it?
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah. So in the final 2 or 3 minutes, I want to talk about the act of giving because it blesses the community. It also blesses the giver. What does it mean to you to give, and why should people who are really kind of chasing the almighty dollar right now maybe reevaluate?
You know, That's a great question. I don't know if I have the answer. I think I was blessed. My father was a Boy Scout leader. My mother was a Girl Scout leader. Everything was always about giving and always being appreciative of what you have. And you've heard the expression first world problems.
Right.
I wake up every morning and go, man, I have a comfortable house. I have food. Yes. I have transportation. I should give back. I owe it to give back.
Yes.
And I don't know why other people wouldn't think that same way, but it seems natural.
Well, you're still a young man, Steve. I know you got a lot of years on the planet. What's ahead for you in the next 20 years?
We're working on a lot. Again, EarthX is a great platform to showcase programs that I've been designing. I've worked on, I was stranded in Panama during the COVID. Mm-hmm. And so I started a program down there called the Rotary Reef Program, where we're creating rotary reefs and building seed banks to take the reefs out of the water. Mm-hmm. I planted about 10,000 almendro trees, which will help reintroduce a species. So that's a pretty good goal, to introduce a species into another country. So the great green macaw needs the almendro tree to reproduce. And when I first asked the question, everybody goes, it can't be done. It takes too long. And I said, what's too long? They go, 8 years. I go, so if we start planting now, in 10 years, we can reintroduce the species. Yeah, I guess we could. I said, so let's start planting tomorrow. And we did. Wow. And now it's become a very popular thing. We've got trees planted on all the islands and archipelagos, and they're doing great. And we're excited to bring the great green macaw back to the Bocas del Toro.
Well, Steve, you inspire me. Okay, final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
Just, we're really excited about EarthX here in Dallas. It's April 21st to 25th. Make sure you go to the website. There's going to be a lot of amazing speakers, conferences. We've got things to educate youth. We've got some really, really good speakers. And it's a great way to network with like-minded people.
Outstanding. We're going to leave you with two websites. First one is earthx.org for the international organization. And then we're going to end with the Rotary website. That is rotary.org. The great Steve Bender, thanks for coming on the show.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.